Welcome back to another episode of the RAG Report podcast, where I bring you a daily bulletin show from recruitment owners, suppliers, and advisors from around the world to give their take on what's going on and helping us all navigate through this terrible time that we're facing with COVID-19. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Chris Kendrick. Chris is the CEO and founder of Mercury XRM, the recruitment CRM for the Microsoft platform, the cloud platform, I should say. Chris was referred to me a couple of weeks ago by a member of his team. We had a good chat, and I'm really excited to have him on board. Like me, dealing with lots of recruitment owners on a day-to-day, and is not only thinking about how recruitment owners are going to change, the industry is going to change, but how technology can underpin and I suppose help us thrive through it. So, Chris, thanks for taking the time out today, mate.
No, it's great to finally be on the session. I know we've had to try and bounce around a few times, but delighted to be here.
Apologies, I've been running around like a blue-ass fly half the time, so I can't. I've got to hold my hands up. I've been a nightmare for you to get onto the show, but we're here now. We've made it.
We have. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Chris, tell the listeners, first question I've asked on every episode, paint the picture. What's life like for you right now?
Well, mine's quite an interesting one, actually. I, very similar to many people, I'm at home with the family and I'm working and all the fun and joy that brings. My 4-year-old twin girls running in on many conversations, but I'm sure that's not new to most people.
No.
I'm also living in half a house because a few weeks before the lockdown, the rear wall of the house came out for a kitchen extension, which is yet to be secured but back in place.
What have you got, like open air wind, like house that just blows out into the garden?
Effectively, the inside of where the kitchen would have met the lounge and the hallway has now been boarded up, so we can't get into what was the kitchen, and that's all an extended space with no windows or doors. So we're living in half a house downstairs. I've got a 2-hob camping stove that is currently providing us with our meals. So it's good fun.
2-hob camping. What are you making, like eggs and bacon all day?
I have a lot of poached eggs on toast, which I've become quite accustomed to, with a bit of avocado, a bit of Frank's sauce. That's going down quite well at the minute, actually.
That sounds like something I could eat tonight. That.
Yeah, that's good. And life just changed a bit. We just had a wedding cancelled, which was due to be in Mallorca in 2 months' time. A trip to Vegas that went with it. So, it's character building, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Unless you're the guy paid for the wedding and you're now screwing.
Well, yeah, there is that, but we're still here. The business is here. The business is strong, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I got married last June, and I'm thinking about my summer last year, how packed it was. Like, I moved house, I renovated a house, I went on my stag do, I had my wedding, I had all the crap around it. It was like, then we went to honeymoon, then we went to Turkey to see her family. It was just one of them summers where I think I went on about 5 overseas trips. I was working like a madman. I was about. It couldn't be more different this year. Like, I'm at home with my wife, with the dog. We've not left the house in 5 weeks. And it's just, I don't know, it's just mental how different the world is.
It is. There's some great things about it, though. I think, obviously you're getting to go for walks where I wouldn't have otherwise gone for a walk around my neighbourhood necessarily. I think people just seem a lot friendlier all of a sudden, which is a bit, that's a bit cool.
People smiling, not in the street. All right.
Exactly, yeah. Even though they're trying to stay 2 meters away and sort of be wary of you, but everyone's got a hello to say and everything else. So that was pretty cool. I think life's going to change, and professionally, we were talking before about that change. More people are giving free advice, free consultancy, and putting more content. There's some amazing articles that I read on LinkedIn on a daily basis. Credit to Bernie von Brincheri. I saw a great article from him yesterday, which was really cool, and the guys at Ebster put one on. There's some brilliant content. So people are using this time to do good things.
We've got to. So for the listeners, then, just tell us a bit more about Mercury and what you've done.
Yeah, so my background's recruitment. I started in recruitment in '96. I worked for the Spring Group of companies. I went on to run a recruitment business, and we decided to change our software. In our infinite wisdom at the time, we decided to build our own, which I'm sure many people have embarked upon, and it's not for the light-hearted. But we did that. We built our own solution. We took it to market, and I did a management buyout of that business in December 2016. So we're essentially, you would class us as a CRM. We're probably a bit more than that. We sit on top of Microsoft's cloud business applications platform. So
Yeah.
Dynamics 365, Office 365, and now things like Teams and LinkedIn as well. And so we looked to sort of market that solution on the basis that we were recruiters. We designed it for our own business. So all being good and well, and hopefully that's what people see when they see the solution. It truly was built for recruiters by recruiters. So we live in that cloud space, born in the cloud. And so hopefully the transition to these awkward but difficult working circumstances weren't too difficult for most of our clients.
No. So what was it when this hit? I imagine CRMs. I mean, I interviewed Gary from Bullhorn, and I mean, it's one of them bits of kit, right, that you're not going to just turn off. Like you can't unless you were planning on moving across to a new CRM. You're not going to like close it off and recruit from a black book, are you? So is there an element of safety and protection in your revenue there?
I think to some extent, yeah. We're a cloud-based subscription model, and people need their CRM. They should be looking at it more than ever. And I heard your podcast with Gary, and he made some excellent points. It's an opportunity for people to look at it and probably double down on their learning and its capabilities and understand what they didn't use before. But you can draw parallels from how I used the CRMs that I used back in the day during the dot-com issues of the early 2000s and the financial crisis in 2008. And in both of those times, we went to the database. We just made sure it was better and stronger than ever. Everyone made more contact with their people on there, brought those records right up to speed so that when the market was back again. So for us in the markets that we serve, it's been good because, we know that our clients require that. Obviously, we've had to be flexible with that. But CRM it's the basis, it's the foundation for your data. So you've got to have it in place and you need to look after it.
So what was the reaction from your client base like, and what sort of approaches did you get from them?
Yeah, kind of varied really. So we've got people obviously that are taking good advantage, certainly in the UK, the government's furlough scheme and different schemes worldwide. So we've been flexible when it comes to either offsetting or deferring revenue. We've looked at people that are currently in projects at the moment and looked at how they can possibly better split their implementation fees. We've worked with people a lot, and it's probably one of the things I want to talk about today on how they can optimize their processes and effectively do more with less. We are going to come out of this, and people will unfortunately have shrunk a bit in size, but they're still going to have a lot of work to do, and they're not necessarily going to have the bandwidth to do it with the people that they've got. So I think we're trying to help people with some of that automation. We've run webinars on Microsoft Teams integration. I mean, Teams has seen obviously a huge spike in increase. Just in 1 week alone, they sort of gained about 12 million users as everyone was scrambling to get their teams online. So just trying to sort of bring people either through optimizing what they've got in the tech stack that we provide them with, or what else plugs into our solution, and then obviously financially just trying to help our customers through it. And again, much like Gary said, really, customers are critical. We wouldn't be here without them, so we need them to come through the other side as we need to as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think being flexible is absolutely paramount right now, and as much as you can be. People got to remember that suppliers like me and you, we've got to make a revenue as well. Like, not just turn things off. But I'll be honest, my Hoxo's clients have been unbelievable. Like we've had conversations with all of them. We've got closer, if anything, to them, and they've just all taken a real like scruff of the neck attitude towards it. I think that's the type of companies we work with at the end of the day. Like we as a marketing agency, we work with businesses that are pretty progressive in their mindset, right? They're forward thinking. They were investing in us before this. So before the need, I feel like right now is absolutely like fundamental. You need a marketing play, but these businesses were doing that anyway. So when this is hit, it's cemented even more that they need it. But in terms of your vision for the future, you mentioned about the way that tech can implement can help businesses come out of this. What strategies could people be doing in the CRM? What practical things could they be doing now to ensure that when this is all over, they're in a better place?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things, and I mean, just before we come to the CRM, I've said and I've spoke about for a while. The the recruitment industry is going to change and change forever over the next, and that was always going to happen actually over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. This is just going to accelerate that. In the meantime, as we know, all of it is driven by data. If you've got good data, then you're going to be far more productive, reactive when the time is required, but more proactive. And you might look at marketing automation and harnessing the data that you've got to hit the touch points and what the value that you get back in that, from lead nurturing, lead generation, contact points, sales, and engagement and enablement. So at the minute, I think people should be, like I said earlier, taking the CRM system that they've got, ensuring, well, first of all, it's the right one, but I would say that clearly. But I do actually mean that as well. It's got to be a strategic platform that they can build upon. It's got to plug into the other tools that they need, and getting that data into the right place so they can react. The market, and in some markets, it's going to bounce back, and it's going to go into it'll be a V curve in some industries very quickly, and those that have got the ability to identify talent and candidates in the shortest possible time are going to do particularly well. So I think that's imperative that people get that right. But I think also in terms of the way the market's going to change, people need to be looking at their tech stack and not just their CRM. We are going to move into a world where recruitment, as I say, will change. Recruiters will be required to do more of the things that robots and machines can't do, but businesses will be leaning on machines to do the things that they can do. And what I mean by that is, for years we've had technology, and it's not unique to us. Many people have got it, where the automated capture and the parsing of CVs and resumes will extract key data. There's lots of other things that machines can do. They can learn from that information. You can have the automated outreach to candidates to get your data up to date. So using chatbots and virtual agents to get that data back in. You can use that automation to also start scheduling those calls with those candidates so that you can fill recruiters' diaries full of the calls that they should be making. So recruiters are spending more of their time in valuable conversations with pre-booked calls on key topics, because the machine's been able to match candidates to jobs, schedule the call for the recruiter. And I think one of the big things for me at the moment is what's going to be difficult for a lot of owners, because this remote working thing isn't going to go away, and it's not going to go away for different reasons. First of all, social distancing will mean that we have to work remotely in some cases. But actually, I think people will challenge do I need a large office in a big city and everyone in there every day? And I think the answer to that will be no for many people. But whilst people aren't sat within those offices, and whilst they're not around their team leads and their managers, without sort of using voice technology to sort of barge in on their phone calls and listen into those calls, how can you ensure that the quality of those conversations is right? So you can be hooking up automation to ensure that you're getting the right satisfaction surveys, the right feedback scores. If I knew that my best biller was my best biller, that doesn't tell me how well they brief a candidate initially on the role. It might tell me they're fantastic at sending the right candidate or maybe closing them, but there might be other parts in that process that they're not maybe as good as they should be. And likewise, how can I understand that person that doesn't necessarily close all the deals, is it because we're prepping the candidate wrong in the interview stage? And I think we can leverage automation to trigger at certain times to understand the feedback of the candidate and the sentiment, and feed that back into the process and identify training needs analysis. And we could do all of this through automation at the moment. And I think that these are just things that people possibly don't consider or don't realize they can achieve. So I think as an enabler, people need to start looking at where technology can really change the way that they're going to work moving forward, so they can do more with less, but they can learn more about their business and how their recruiters work.
Well, you made me think there. Yeah, you opened my eyes up to some of the stuff. So it's all about getting consumer data, isn't it? It's getting the data led by the people you can get. Because I think if we just rely on what a recruiter inputs into a CRM, we're probably going to be slim pickings on knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
I was always quite good at it. I was always quite good at putting in my stuff, and I still am within our CRM. But knowing what others are like in teams that I've worked with and stuff, it's not always the case. People are typically good salespeople and crap at admin. But if you can, one thing that I've always thought about with recruitment CRMs is, it's always been that static. It's reliant on us putting the information in. So how much can you get self-serve for people to update their, if they change a they reply to an email and it changes their status, changes the company they work for, changes their job title, or including, or could it connect to LinkedIn and LinkedIn does if they change it on LinkedIn, it'll change it in your CRM. Does yours have that connectivity to do that?
Yeah, we've got integrations with both LinkedIn Recruiter and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So one of the great features about Sales Navigator actually is that you can be alerted that when you go into your CRM, if someone's no longer at the organization, it will prompt you to tell you the person's no longer there. You wouldn't necessarily want it to automatically move it. That could create other problems for you with billing and anything else. And obviously with LinkedIn Recruiter, you can see their profile from within the application. So I think that's pretty important. I think going back to your earlier point as well, recruiters, we're salespeople. I class myself as one still. We're entrepreneurial. Where do we get the next deal from? Where do we get the next high value candidate that we can represent to people that we think would be interested? We've never typically been great people at filling out systems, but you can back up automation to follow you on that. So you could have an engagement with a person, and the system could see if there's key bits of information missing. It can either send them a simple survey with a form with the things that are missing, or you could be sending them a virtual agent, a chatbot, if you like, that's saying, you just had a conversation with Sean, which is brilliant, but actually, for whatever reason, we missed your current salary. And the system could automatically be automating that, capturing it and bringing it back into the system. And it's this level of automation, if you can just drive better data, as soon as you've got the data in there, the machine can learn from it. As soon as the machine can learn from it, it can make recommendations on it. And really where I see the industry in 18 months to 2 years' time is that we'll be spending a lot of money, I think, and effort on marketing to make sure that we can get as many candidates and as many clients into our environments as we possibly can. The machine won't be matching candidates and jobs. The machine will be doing the initial outreach through virtual agents to say, Sean, this role looks to meet with you. Are you still looking? Are you in the market? When would be a good time to have a conversation with Chris? You'd pick a slot in my diary, and I'm going to get a diary entry to give you a call at 7 o'clock tonight, and I know exactly why I'm calling you. The machine will never replace the recruiter. It will never empathize. It will never sell. But the recruiter's the storyteller. The marketer is the person that gets the clients and the candidates into the process.
What if you get a job and your data's not amazing and it goes out and it pulls the best people it can, and then you just get a diary full of average candidates that kills your time? And
well, that's true actually. So you've got to trust it. You've got to test it. And I'm not saying we do this at the minute. I'm saying this is, in my opinion, this is exactly where the market's going. Yeah. Machine learning, you would want to have a relatively decent and big data set. You don't start machine learning with this is the solution I'm trying to achieve. You start with the question you want to answer. Yeah. And I think once you run that, so one of our clients at the moment is running in parallel their own sort of recommendation engine, and that they're almost silently putting it against what their recruiters do, just to see if they can predict who the recruiters are going to call and who the recruiters are going to shortlist. And I think that's where it's going. Train the model, understand whether you think it's right, and then start to sort of unleash it, really.
No, I agree. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. I think the way the industry is going to go is there's going to be smaller, shrunk businesses that are thinking, right, when COVID-19 hit, we had this business plan and it was leveraging the whole grow by organic juniors model. And now it's like, we'll still do a bit of that, but will we spend as much money on that? Or would we prefer to have our existing guys that have stuck with us throughout this period be more productive, have better tools, have better content, have leads coming inbound? I think there's going to be, I spoke to a guy this morning, he just went, Sean, I need inbound. And I was like, fucking hell, when I started talking about inbound 2 years ago, everyone was like, sounds great, what is it?
Yeah.
Now people are like, we need it. And it's like, it's super exciting for me, that, because I genuinely believe that it's an absolute must. Now, it's also, in my opinion, it sits at a company and an individual level, the way in which it's executed. And I think it's the same thing for you, isn't it? Like, you can have all the strategies in play from an automation, but you want your recruiters being able to access and trigger automations so that it plays to their strengths, as opposed to it coming from a central place, which, doesn't. Sometimes marketing and recruiters don't speak very well. And it's the same with the CRM and recruiters. They don't necessarily communicate.
I think in my opinion, where marketing has always struggled within recruitment is how are you differentiating yourself? What is it that you're trying to sell? And actually, I think it's got a different role to play with great content going out there that engages an audience so people come in. You're not necessarily differentiating yourself. You're putting great content out that people engage with. Once you start to get engagement, then those naturally filter down, then those people that engage with it, and you harness and you get more data from those people. Once you get more data from those people, you can match them to suitable opportunities or sell them suitable candidates. So it's getting the data in the first place. How you do that, that's the role of the marketing department and the marketeers to engage and bring in. And then I think what you need to do, artificial intelligence, everyone's talking about it, no one's doing it. Everyone thinks that there's some great AI out there. We're not even walking, we're crawling with AI at the minute in terms of what we do. There's amazing bits of kit out there, but we're a million miles away from running with it. But we need to make sure that we're getting the data into the right place so that when we can enable the right AI tools, then you're running at pace. And going back to your point a minute ago, as a 360 recruiter, as a BDM, I just want to be having great conversations. That's what I want to be doing. The longer I'm spending searching databases trying to find candidates, or the longer I'm wondering who to call next and why to call them, is arguably a waste of my time, which is why most people scale up with more people. I actually think it's an opportunity to keep yourself relatively tight moving forwards with more experienced, better people, but just feed them better data to work from. So that's where I think the model will change for me.
Is your model a per user license or is it per company license?
It is, yeah. Ours is it's an interesting story actually. Well, an interesting view because it is a per user per month license. We've got clients that have sort of added 20 to 30% bottom line year on year growth, yet haven't increased the number of users. Now that's amazing for us from a referencing perspective. It's not actually amazing for us from growing revenue, but again, you'll take referrals in that case. So yes, it is. But again, these are the sorts of things that could change in the market going forward. Will your commercial model be based on the success of your customers, which it could well be? Yeah,
I think for you, like similar to other suppliers on a pure per user per month basis, like they might take a hit in that way that there might not be as many users out there. Clients might not want to ramp it up like they were, but they'll definitely get closer to you as a result of this, and they'll want to maximize every single penny they're spending, which should mean that the relationship's even better when it comes out of it, and then you're looking at referrals and stuff. So it's a slightly different way to hit a similar growth plan, I think, for you.
I think so. And then, of course, where we focus ourselves really, because a lot of what I talked about is aspirational, and that's where we want to get to, and that's where I think the market should be in terms of what we're doing at the moment. There's a whole host of applications in around the Microsoft platform, and we could do a lot of that automation and add-ons. So, from a revenue model, we'll look to build out within our own platform the other solutions and services that people might be interested in. But moving forward, we could find ourselves sort of hitting a bit of a glass ceiling with our clients not increasing user numbers because we put so much automation in there that we. But again, from a referenceability perspective and actually probably from a new sales perspective, that wouldn't be a bad place to be.
Yeah, and you've got to go with how the market's going. You can't hold automation back so you get more users. You need to go with what you think the right thing is for your clients, right? And the rest will take care of itself.
I think you've got to, yeah. And you've got to, I constantly tell people CRM isn't the future. And people say to me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a CRM. So, you've got to move with the market. Otherwise, the market will move without you. So, that's where we've got to see ourselves. And that's where we've got to adapt and move.
Well, what do you think right now, then, is the reality of how recruitment owners are feeling, like from what you've seen? Like, so we've gone through a couple of weeks of absolute madness. Yeah. I feel like it's been a bit of a bounce this week. I don't know. It just feels a bit better. Like everyone's a confidence. People LinkedIn's getting louder. I'm getting more messages. I'm getting more emails. I'm getting leads again. Signed a few clients again. What are you seeing, and what do you think the confidence level looks like across the board?
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think, as we came out of March, I spoke to so many of our clients or prospects that were having their best ever March, and it was the end for many to a great financial year. And, there was that bit of a bounce that went with it. People were like, we've had a good time. We will see what happens. We'll maybe make good use of furlough, and we'll start to do that. I think as soon as we were coming to the end of that first period in the UK of lockdown, we were looking to extend it. There was a lot of, everyone knew it was coming, but everyone reacted quite badly when it did, because then you started to see a lot more nervousness and negativity come into sales pipelines. But actually, like you, in the last week, I mean, we've signed customers this week that we wouldn't have otherwise expected. We've got quite a few people that, for different reasons. I mean, I talked a minute about remote not going away. We've got lots of prospects that realise that the tech platform they're on isn't one that's going to meet that and suit that business model. So we've probably had people come to us where we wouldn't have otherwise expected them this early, because they're tied into contracts. So but we're seeing a lot of optimism come in. A lot of the markets we serve, we're more focused towards sort of white collar, high-end tech, life sciences type. We've got a lot of clients in those industries, and whilst there's some tech companies that are struggling, there's also a lot that are serving their clients that are seeing the same upturn we are, because their clients are having to move to the cloud. They're putting more resilience in, they're putting new infrastructures in. So I think there's a lot of positivity that's come in the last week, and that's been good for us. But we're by no means through it yet. People will be coming back from furlough, and certainly by July we expect that to be the case if they run the whole process. And then you're going to see a change in the way that people work. There's a lot of business development and new business and ways of working that some recruiters may not have been used to. And likewise, we take a step back to when I started recruiting in the 90s, when it was all about relationship. There's some great relationships that are being built and fostered here. So hopefully people will reap the reward of that as well.
Agreed. Well, Chris, I've loved having you on. I hope you enjoyed it. I think you've got a really innovative platform, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are looking at that right now. So I hope you're happy for them to reach out, even if they're not looking to actually change CRMs. They just wanted to ask you some questions. You up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can contact me or one of the guys, book a demo on the website. We're going to run a series of webinars. We got a lot of take up on the Teams one. We're going to run integration and automation webinars to show people some of the things that we're talking about, what they can achieve. So people are more than welcome to just sign up and be a bit nosy and come and have a look at what we're doing and join some of those webinars or book a demo. I mean, that'd be great.
Wicked. Well, look, I'll make sure everyone, you're tagged in everything. Like I say, people get in touch. There's so much advice and support out there, and I appreciate you taking the time, mate. And I think you're well positioned to help people in this period. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Another short, sharp episode. Every single day we're coming at you with information. Please share this with people you know. I don't ask for any money for this podcast. I do ask for you to share it and make sure that we are growing our listeners and we're helping more people. That's what Chris and I and all the rest of the guests are all here for, is to make sure this industry survives what's going on and comes out better. The signs are good, but we've got a hell of a long way to go. If you're listening on the iTunes store, please give us your ratings and your 5 stars, and do get onto LinkedIn and get some comments on the posts and the content to amplify what we're doing. I'll be back again tomorrow with more information for you guys. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.